Thank you for joining. This webinar is for the Lighting Prize Manufacturing and Installation phase. This is the third phase of the Lighting Prize. I just want to make sure, once again, all of you know this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on our HeroX website following today's webinar. All attendees will be on mute throughout the presentation, but if you have any questions, there is a Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen or perhaps the top of your screen, depending on your view, where you can plug in any questions that you have regarding what we're covering today. We will do our best to answer these questions, but at the same time, we may not be able to answer some very technical questions or teaming questions. We will post answers to all questions received on the HeroX forum following the webinar. And if for some reason we cannot post that, we may reach out to you directly regarding that question. So just some quick introductions. My name is Rebecca Bennett. I am the prize lead at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. I kind of manage the day-to-day of the L Prize, answering questions, that kind of thing, managing our HeroX page. Also today we have Wyatt Merrill from the U.S. Department of Energy, and he is our project manager within the Buildings Technologies Office. We also have Gabe Arnold from the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, also a technical lead for this prize, as well as Kate Hickox, also from the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, another technical lead for this prize. I'm going to pass it over to Wyatt.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you to everybody who's spending some time with us today to learn more about this awesome prize. Really excited to kick us off with some introductory remarks here and a little bit of an overview. So the opportunity in the L Prize, this is a prize, as many of you may know, that focuses on commercial sector lighting, which we know is the majority of lighting energy use in buildings today. It's a huge opportunity in terms of energy savings and a variety of other innovations related to both efficiency, quality of light, functionality, sustainability. We have a whole suite of things that we're asking people to bring to this, and that people have already brought to the first couple of phases. We are now entering our third phase. Very exciting. It's been a long time since we first launched our concept phase and selected 10 winners during that phase. We selected 6 winners in our prototype phase that shared a $2 million prize pool. And now, bigger and better than ever, our third phase, our longest phase, our biggest prize pool, and really the one that we're asking the most of teams. In this phase, we'll have up to 4 winners sharing a prize pool of $10 million, big splashy prize pool for big innovations. And most of today we will be talking as a group about what's required to participate in competing for that prize pool. But I want to spend just a moment on this next slide, if you can move forward, to acknowledge the winners of our prototype phase. We had some great prototype phase submissions on both our Luminaire track and our connected systems track. On the Luminaire side, we had Signify Innovation bring a really groundbreaking Tropper prototype design that hit a really exquisite 196 lumens per watt, while at the same time providing really exceptional color quality and light distribution. We had Lightly ditch the traditional materials that we see in a lot of luminaires and opt instead of aluminum and steel for a sustainable low carbon prototype pendant luminaire made from locally harvested wood, hemp, and wool. And even with these sustainable features, was still able to deliver 175 lumens per watt with exceptional color quality. We saw GIBA, the Grid Interactive Efficient Building Alliance. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the acronym correctly, but develop a new troffer fully designed for modularity, disassembly, recyclability, once again hitting very high lumens per watt, and designing for open sourced digital interoperability. On the connected system side, we had Autoni and Leviton partner to bring some advanced interoperability innovations compatible with many of the open protocols on the market and open source databases. The prototype was particularly a standout for its with an extremely capable and user-friendly API that enabled the systems to exchange just about any type of data with other systems. We had another award that went to Signify Innovation for a brand new, all-in-one sensor that measures not only daylight and occupancy, but humidity, temperature, sound in new ways that can be optimized, that can be used to optimize employee comfort and productivity. And finally, last but certainly not least, we had MW Connect develop a fully open standard system using the Bluetooth mesh protocol. The approach is entirely future-proofed for the benefits that it delivers and provides great flexibility and choice for specifiers, buyers, and end users. And it's important to note, though, that these innovations don't tell the entire story. We have very high technical requirements for this prize. We set the bar very high with our team of experts at PNNL and elsewhere. All three of the winning connected systems we're having to bring new innovations with aspects including things like fault detection and diagnostics and grid integration. We were looking for the ability to dynamically respond to electrical grid signals while still ensuring continued occupant satisfaction with the lighting and with the increasing and what we know will be an increasingly important capability that's needed to support building and grid decarbonization. And we see this area as an opportunity for massive investment, massive impact moving forward. And so that's really what this new phase is all about. And so with that having been said, we have these focus areas that we're showing on the slide here that I want to make sure that we highlight. And we're going to hear more about this in more detail from our team at PNNL. So I won't go into great detail on each of these, but I just want to congratulate the team on putting all these together in a way that I think is really thoughtful. We have innovation in energy efficiency, of course, it's always foundational. Quality of light continues to be important. Connectivity, health and well-being, environmental sustainability, and accessibility and affordability, among others. And we'll talk, in great detail over the next hour about what we mean by each of these and how you'll be scored if you choose to submit. We've seen tremendous lighting industry innovation in each of these areas, but oftentimes sort of at the expense of one another. And we recognize that there are, of course, physical trade-offs, but I think more and more we recognize that these trade-offs are not completely inherent in every case and impossible to avoid. And so what we want to challenge teams to really think about is how to make progress to overcome some of those historical trade-offs that have existed for a long time in this industry, and think about not only how to do that from a technology standpoint, but how to make it more accessible, more affordable, and to do it here in the US with domestic production wherever possible. And so in this phase, we broadened and integrated our approach to equity, accessibility, and resilience, and to do and have done our best to align with the principles of the Justice 40 initiative in the Department of Energy and across the government. We've increased our emphasis and the number of points available for certain innovations in these areas. For instance, we've added an accessibility-focused criteria for the ease of installation and scalability. We've added technical innovation points for health and well-being. We've updated cost-effectiveness criteria and focus on affordability. We've included, as we have in other rounds, pretty, I would say, advanced resiliency criteria, which is to say, winning products have to have the capability of maintaining control despite losing power, losing connection to a network, et cetera. And the connected systems must include standards-based interfaces that meet the criteria for interoperability, addressability, cybersecurity, fault detection and diagnostics, grid service capabilities, et cetera, using the Open ADR standard. And this is the challenge that, based on what we saw in the prototype phase, we feel we can deliver on in real buildings. And that's what this new phase is all about, getting some of these critical innovation areas that lighting is specifically geared up towards delivering into real buildings. To help do that, the last thing I'll mention before I hand it over to the team to get into more detail on all those criteria, we are making available what we're calling a resource list to participants. And this is because we recognize on the DOE side that some of the entrants in this final phase could find it challenging to identify, for instance, a host site or certain technical capabilities for their installation, since we do have such a high bar for these installations. And so what we're doing is we're developing a totally voluntary resource list on our HeroX website where you can find all the information you need about the prize. You'll find this resource list there. And we're doing this to facilitate connections between potential entrants and supporting entities that are interested in hosting an installation, for instance. And so I want to stress, that the use of this list is optional. If you want to put your information on this list, we will be happy to host it and make it publicly available to other people who want to participate in the prize. We are not endorsing or qualifying entries for the list. We're just asking you to fill out a form, give some information about the capabilities that you have and what you're looking for in a team. And we want to help hopefully alleviate the potential barrier to participation for certain building owners, businesses, individuals. So if you're one of those people that wants to know what's out there for teaming possibilities, I really encourage you to get involved with signing up and putting your name and your information into this resource list. If it's not for you and you want to do it on your own, that's fine too. It won't affect the outcome in terms of how we appraise the prize. So hopefully that makes some sense. And if not, we can address it in the Q&A. I hope that it's a good resource for all of you. And if you move to the final slide here for me, it's my opportunity to introduce Gabe Arnold. And Gabe has really done yeoman's work on this prize from phase 1 all the way through to phase 3. I mean, everybody you hear from today, it falls into that camp, but no better person to share the gory details of our manufacturing and installation phase requirements. So Gabe, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Wyatt. And I'm here with my partner and teammate, Kate Hickox. And so she and I will be going into more detail here on the manufacturing and installation phase that's currently open. So let's start here with the structure of the competition. How do you win this? We have 2 tracks, luminaires and connected systems. And you can submit to either one or you can submit to both, but you'd have to submit a separate entry for each track if you wanted to submit to both. When you do submit your entry, it will be reviewed by an expert reviewer panel. And this is a group of independent experts and thought leaders that we have assembled with expertise in all of the relevant topics to the L Prize. They're going to both review your entry in person, a physical evaluation, and they'll also conduct a documentation evaluation. They will then recommend winners to DOE, and the winners that they recommend will be the entries that meet the minimum requirements, number 1, and then number 2, earn the most points. And there's a couple of different categories of points to be earned. There are prescriptive points, where the L Prize defines a specific threshold to meet, and you can earn a predefined number of points if you meet that threshold. So like you achieve a certain efficacy level, and you get a certain number of points. And then there are also some points, actually more points than there are prescriptive, that are more subjective in nature, where the expert reviewer panel will score a particular area of innovation on a scale of 0 to 10 or 0 to 15 and assign additional points to the entry. And these points are based on clear value statements that the reviewer panel will score, and you'll see defined in the rules. All of these points, the prescriptive points and those scored by the expert reviewer panel, are then added together, and the highest totals are what would be recommended to DOE as winners. So we're going to take a closer look at this, and I've got a couple of slides here that I'm not going to go into detail on, but we wanted to make available in the deck for you to reference afterwards. This one and the next one are providing some breakdowns of the prescriptive versus subjective points. And I think one thing I'll just quickly call out here is, at least on the luminaire track, you can see the proportions here: 35 prescriptive points, 90 subjective. So a lot of the points are in these subjective innovation areas. And it's a similar story with the connected systems track, where there are 60 points in the prescriptive areas and 105 in the subjective. But I want to go to this slide here, and this is a version of Table 3 that you'll find in the official rules, specifically for the luminaire track. It's a busy slide. It's got a lot of text, small text, and we're not going to go through this line by line here. And it's difficult to read, but it's a really great resource when you do look at those official rules for summarizing at a high level the innovation topics that the L Prize addresses, the associated minimum requirements for each, and then also where you can earn points. The leftmost column, the L Prize luminaire track innovation categories include efficacy, quality of light, connectivity, product life cycle, which includes many aspects of environmental sustainability, and then technical innovation, and there's a lot under this one. Important topics, application efficiency, getting beyond kind of luminaire efficacy to the efficiency in the actual application, form factor and aesthetics, ease of installation, affordability and value proposition, and health and well-being. And then the final innovation category for this phase at the lower left there is US content production and installation. So let's zoom in on each of these innovation areas and talk more about them. And I'll start here with efficacy, and this one's very straightforward. Luminaires must be at least 150 lumens per watt to win the competition, and then you can earn points above that on an increasing scale, up to 10 points if you can achieve 200 lumens per watt. Sounds very simple. The next innovation area is quality of light. There's a lot more here, and DOE is looking to encourage innovation that delivers that high efficacy while at the same time achieving exceptional lighting quality to overcome those trade-offs that Wyatt was mentioning that have existed between these different innovation areas in the past. If you work a lot with lighting and lighting specs, you'll be familiar with a lot of what's on here. I'm just going to run through some of it quickly. The luminaire must provide at least 2,000 lumens per watt, lumens at full output. We are referencing the ANSI IS TM30 color rendition metrics, and the luminaire must provide a preference rating of P2 and a fidelity rating of F1. Those are TM30 metrics. That's the minimum, and then you can earn points if you get beyond that to a preference rating of P1. In terms of color temperature, chromaticity, we're looking for a 4000K CCT luminaire, and we completely recognize that once these winning products are commercially available, they hopefully will be available in a range of CCTs. But we are focusing the evaluation specifically on the 4000K CCT point. That's what the luminaires will be evaluated at to see if they achieve the minimum requirements and metrics. You can submit a white tunable or color tunable luminaire, but again, the performance metrics, that luminaire will be evaluated at the 4000K CCT point. Glare control is on here, and the luminaire must have a UGR value of less than 22 according to the CIE 190 methodology. We absolutely recognize there are limitations to applying the UGR metric to luminaires in this manner, and we've heard some feedback about that. And so we're offering an alternative pathway for competitors to demonstrate that their luminaire is low glare by other means than the UGR metric if a competitor would like to do that. The next topic here is temporal light modulation, sometimes called flicker. That's a really important one where we're requiring winning luminaires to have an SVM of 0.4 or lower at multiple dimming levels. And then I think the last thing I'll call out on this slide is the visual comfort points. That's new for the last phase. It's something that's going to be scored subjectively by the expert review panel based on their physical assessment of the luminaire when it's installed. And it will be considering factors like glare and like light distribution and aspects that might not be addressed by one of these more prescriptive luminaire metrics, really looking at things more from the application perspective. The third innovation category in the luminaire track is connectivity. And the Department of Energy wants winning luminaires to be digitally interoperable with multiple manufacturers' connected lighting systems to support broad adoption and ultimately reduce complexity of deployment. They also want winning luminaires to have the ability to measure and report their own energy use, diagnostics data, operation and maintenance data, as well as to have the ability to easily install a sensor, occupancy, daylight, or any other sensor in the luminaire in a plug-and-play type manner. Sometimes we call this luminaire level lighting control. And while this all sounds like a lot to ask for and a lot to design into a luminaire, it's actually fairly simple when some of the open standards are leveraged. And that's effectively what is asked for by the LPI's requirements in this area for luminaires is that to get all that I've talked about, a winning luminaire, it needs to use a D4I certified digital driver, of which there's an increasing number on the market, a standard sensor port that meets Zaga Book 20 or NEMA 20,000 specs, and a 2-wire connection from that D4I driver to the sensor port. And that's really all a winning luminaire needs to provide to deliver all of this connectivity value. I'm going to hand it over to Kate to talk about the next innovation topic.
I'm going to give some background on product lifecycle. So this innovation area supports circular design. And by that, we mean trying to eliminate waste and maximizing continuous reuse or repair, remanufacturing of components. So there's 8 topics within this innovation area. Circularity of lighting products can be measured using the TM66 SEAM method, so circular economy assessment method. Products must have an assured quality mark of 2 or higher, and higher scores can earn additional points. In the M&I phase, we're looking for a real life cycle assessment and resulting EPD for the submitted products. So you can look in the official rules for resources on this topic, including a link to download a lifecycle inventory template. And over the next month, there should be some additional resources there to support use of that template. Submitted products must make use of circularity best practices, such as replaceable LED driver, array modules, or LED light engines, as well as labeling or markings on components to indicate replaceability or end-of-life opportunities. And we're looking for new or innovative approaches to material transparency or the health of the material, material health innovations. And so you can earn up to 10 points in that topic. And finally, for this innovation area, products should be designed to be long-lasting. So there's minimum requirements around lumen maintenance, chromaticity maintenance, and driver lifetimes. Okay, so this is the technical innovation area. So this is a open-ended innovation area. There's no minimum points. We are looking for technical innovation that's beyond the prescriptive minimum requirements and associated points from the other sections that you've seen. So kind of going back to the overarching goals of equity, accessibility, and resilience that Wyatt introduced at the beginning, this technical innovation area includes a range of prompts supporting sustainability, aesthetics, adoption, as well as equitable deployment. So teams can earn up to 10 points for each of the 5 topics within this innovation area. They can earn points for application efficacy. For instance, innovations that address improved optics, distribution, increased comfort, or reduced glare. Points can be earned for innovative form factors or aesthetics that can improve acceptability or adaptability of the product. We're looking for innovations that can support ease of installation or standardization around installations, as well as innovations that can reduce upfront costs, so improving user affordability and value proposition to address overall affordability. Finally, teams can earn points for science-backed innovations to improve the health and well-being of building occupants.
And the final innovation category in this track is U.S. content production and installation, and there's 4 components to this. The first is U.S. content, and DOE wants to support and grow U.S. innovation and jobs through this L Prize. Although we know that many or even all electronic components that are used in lighting are typically manufactured in other countries, there is actually still a multi-billion-dollar luminaire manufacturing and assembly business in the United States. And it is a minimum requirement that any winning luminaire must be fully assembled here in the US. Beyond this, competitors can earn additional points, up to 15, as scored by the expert review panel for demonstrating additional US content. So this can be things like US sourcing, manufacturing, or assembly of individual materials, individual components, or subcomponents. The second part of this is a production and deployment plan, and that's a required part of the submission. And this is used to assess manufacturing capabilities and plans, as well as capabilities and plans to deploy the luminaire to a large number of commercial buildings. The third topic here is an installation, and competitors are required to submit an installation to install their luminaire in a real-world application of at least 20 of the luminaires. And this can be, it can either be a single installation comprising 20 luminaires, or we do offer the option to split this up to as many as 3 buildings or installations. And the final piece here is that the luminaire must be fully commercially available to specify, purchase, and install. So that means all the documentation is prepared, all the specification information is available on the website. The products are fully available. They're fully safety certified, ready to deploy in commercial buildings. So let's move on here to the connected systems track. And here is another one of those summary tables that comes from the official rules. And so this one's table 4 for the connected systems track. And we have 4 innovation categories for this track: connectivity, product lifecycle, technical innovation, and U.S. content production and installation. So I'm going to start here with connectivity, and there's a lot of innovation topics here in this track. So I've split it up into a couple of slides. So let's go through the first set here. First, the standards-based luminaire or system controller requirement. What that means is that the connected system must be digitally interoperable with luminaires with D4i drivers or sensors that would allow the connected system to then control and exchange data with those luminaires. We're really trying to look beyond the 0 to 10 volt analog control that really dominates the commercial lighting industry right now with this competition, and to realize the benefits of a digitally interoperable ecosystem that, frankly, a lot of other industries have already moved to, but not yet lighting. The next topic to call out here is application interoperability. And this requirement and points are to realize innovation towards integrating lighting systems with other building systems. And there's 2 parts to this topic here. First, in terms of minimum requirements, the system must have an API that can share occupancy, energy, zone, and maintenance data with other systems. And there's a lot more here I don't have time to go over, but more requirements around making sure that the API is easy to use and well documented so that other systems can really effectively use it and tie into the lighting system. The second part here, though, of application interoperability is new, and it's for points, and it's specifically for integration of the lighting system with building management and HVAC systems through BACnet. Here, 10 points can be earned if the system has a certified BACnet interface to share lighting, energy, and zone occupancy data with an HVAC system. And then you can earn 5 more points if you take that to the next level to use the lighting system to define custom HVAC occupancy zones. It's sort of like a gap out there right now with lighting and HVAC system integration. This is a big energy savings opportunity where the granular lighting system occupancy data, especially from luminaire level lighting control systems where you've got those sensors in every luminaire, can really help optimize HVAC system operation. And so that's really a key opportunity the L Prize is targeting. Next, 4 here, we have addressability, where all system components must be digitally addressable through software. Cybersecurity, where the system must be third-party certified for cybersecurity performance. Energy reporting, where the system must be able to measure and report its own energy use. And then finally, on this slide is lighting control strategies, where the system must have capabilities for all of the most common lighting control strategies. Moving on to the second set of topics under connectivity are system resilience, fault detection diagnostics, standards-based luminaire level lighting control, and grid services capable. First up here for system resilience, improving the ability of buildings to withstand stresses from extreme weather and grid disruptions is a key goal of the Department of Energy, and the system resilience topic aims to support that goal by requiring systems to be resilient to loss of connections to the internet and electrical power. So can your system function or recover to its pre-programmed state after these types of disruptions? And then additional points are offered for demonstrating further system resilience to loss of connections to other components in the system. So that's an important priority here. Next up, fault detection diagnostics. This topic requires that the system be able to automatically detect and report things like failed equipment or loss of network communication And then you can earn additional points for innovations that diagnose or even predict equipment or component faults or failures. The third one here, luminaire level lighting control, requires that the connected system has a networked D4I certified sensor available that can be installed in any luminaire with a standardized socket and a D4I driver. So this is really the other half of what we talked about on the luminaire track, and trying to support this digital interoperability between a range of luminaire manufacturers' luminaires and any of the winning L Prize luminaires, and a range of connected control systems manufacturers, and really trying to ensure digital interoperability between these two. And then the final one here is grid services capable. And here we require at minimum that the system has the ability to dynamically respond to electric grid signals using OpenADR, while at the same time ensuring continued occupant satisfaction. And this is going to be an increasingly important capability that is needed to support building and grid decarbonization. And it's an area where lighting can serve really a unique and important role to be able to instantaneously reduce load in ways that other building loads may not be able to, right? We can control lighting instantaneously and dynamically. That's not something we can easily do with building HVAC systems, for example. So I hand it over to Kate.
All right, so I'll give some background on product lifecycle for connected systems. This innovation area supports circular design and sustainability. So we're looking for innovations that support positive environmental impacts. So teams can earn up to 10 points for new or innovative approaches addressing circularity, end-of-life outcomes, reduction in harmful materials, or improved material transparency. So we're really looking for innovative sustainability solutions that go beyond energy savings. And the products must make use of circularity best practices, such as labeling or markings on components to indicate replaceability or end-of-life opportunities. All right, so this is the technical innovation area for connected systems. So this is an open-ended innovation area, no minimum points, and we're looking for technical innovations that are beyond the prescriptive minimum requirements and associated points of the other areas. So again, just referring back to those overarching goals of equity, accessibility, and resilience that Wyatt mentioned, this technical innovation area includes a range of prompts supporting sustainability, scalability, adoption, and equitable deployment. So teams can earn up to 10 points in each of the 5 topics. So we are looking for innovations that can support ease or standardization of the installation. Teams can earn points for innovations that improve compatibility or interoperability with other lighting or even non-lighting devices and systems. Teams can earn points for innovation in scalability. And so by that we mean innovations that allow for deployment in a wide range of building sizes or building types with varying levels of customer sophistication and budgets, and the ability to scale up over time. So we're looking for innovations that can reduce upfront costs and improve the value proposition to address user affordability. And finally, teams can earn points for the science-backed innovations that support health or well-being of the building occupants.
Okay, and then the final innovation area, U.S. content production and installation. And like the luminaire track, this has got 4 different topic areas. First is U.S. content, and here up to 15 points can be earned for demonstrating U.S. content of any connected system components. And that can be manufacturing, assembling, sourcing, any of the system components or subcomponents. A production and deployment plan is required to assess capabilities and plans to both produce the connected system and to scale and deploy the system to lots of buildings. Third, an installation is required of the connected systems in a real-world application that's controlling at least 20 luminaires. And a new piece here, where you can earn up to 15 points if you integrate the lighting and HVAC systems at the installation site. And finally, the connected system must be fully commercially available to specify, purchase, and install. So that's a summary of the L Prize innovation opportunities and minimum requirements and points earning opportunities. You'll, of course, want to read the official rules for all of the details. my final slide here, I want to talk about the timeline a little bit. The final phase is a total of 16 months from when the phase opens, April 2nd, to when the entries are due. So it's a long phase, but that's recognizing the luminaires and systems must be fully commercially available, and they need to be installed in a real building at the end. There are 2 interim steps in this process. So first, on October 1st of this year, 2024, an expression of interest form is due. And the purpose of this form is for you to indicate your interest of possibly entering the competition to the Department of Energy. It does not bind you to enter the competition, but it's an important step to participate. And then in April of 2025, an intent to submit form is due. And this form is required to participate. The final entries are due August 5th of 2025. There is one other step in this timeline, a connected systems pre-testing step. And there that the connected systems participants will learn more about after they submit their intent to submit form. So like the previous prototype phase, the submissions include both documentation and physical products. And we received some feedback in the last phase that it was difficult to track the required documentation. And this time around, we've created Appendix D, which is a checklist of all the required documentation to be submitted. So hopefully that makes things easier. You know, we know this is a lot. This competition, it's not only a tremendous technical and innovation challenge, it's also an organization challenge. But we know it can be done. And we saw that from the amazing teams and prototypes from the prototype phase. And speaking for everyone here, we're tremendously excited for what the teams and innovations will bring in this final phase. Our team is here to support you in realizing a successful submission. You're going to hear from Rebecca next on where and how you can find some support and get some questions answered. You can even request office hours with our team. So as you are thinking about or developing submissions for this prize, don't hesitate to reach out with questions. So with that, I'll pass it over to Rebecca.
Thank you, Gabe. I am going to commandeer the screen and share the L Prize Hero X page with everyone. So probably the best place to stay in touch and get updates on L Prize is our Hero X page. So this is where you will go, again, to get updates, view all of the resources that we've talked about today. We will also put the recording of this webinar under the resources tab. You can also check out the timeline. And this, of course, is where you'll put in your submission. So I just want to run through all of the tabs really quickly, just to get a brief summary of the prize. That is what is in our overview section, as well as guidelines, which will just direct you to the rules. Next is our timeline tab. So a lot of these top timeline milestones have already occurred. They talk about when we launched, the concept phase, the prototype phase, and now, of course, we are in the manufacturing and installation phase. All of the dates that Gabe mentioned earlier are listed under this, so you can always turn into the timeline for up-to-date dates, whether that's submission deadlines, when the actual forms are going to open. As you can see, we do have anticipated, which means they could change, but these are the dates that we are aiming for at this time for all of these relevant forms and announcements. Next is our updates tab. So the updates are things that we put out to keep you informed on the prize. As you can see, the most recent update is about the webinar that you guys are in right now. But if you follow our challenge, which I'll show you how to do, all of these go directly to your email. So you do get the heads up that, oh, wow, the webinar is coming up. And then we also give you updates on when the deadlines are approaching. Next, we have our forum tab. So any questions that we received today or questions that we receive over email that we can apply to every person, we will throw into our forum. We do have them kind of categorized. The majority of the questions, I would say, in the forum right now do apply to previous phases, with a couple of exceptions that apply to all phases. But All of the questions we receive will end up in the forum. We highly encourage you to go look at the forum, look at the questions that have been asked already before you reach out. Otherwise, we'll just end up directing you to one of the threads where we have already asked that question. Teams is where you will see the previous winners, as well as all of the teams and innovators currently following the prize. This does not mean they are actively participating, but they might be. I'm going to skip entries. We're going to go to resources. So resources, this is where all of the relevant resources that we've talked about can be found. The big one, and again, please read them, are the official Lighting Prize rules, documents everything that we've talked about today, as well as a lot more of the nitty-gritty detail we don't have time to cover in this kind of webinar. We also have the resource list response form. So this is what Wyatt was talking about earlier. If you are interested in teaming with someone, finding an installation spot, this is where you'll go to do that. You'll click on this. It will direct you to a Microsoft form, and that is where you'll input your information. We also have information on our office hours. If you want to talk to our team, please go to this resource, read about the office hours and read about how to request them. And then, of course, we have the Luminaire track and the Connected Systems track submission and evaluation plans. These are not posted yet, but they will be there soon. And last, of course, this FAQ tab just will direct you to the forum, which is where we have all of our questions. Most important, I would say, however, is to make sure if you aren't already, follow the prize. To do that, it will ask you for an email and a password if you don't have an account already, and you'll sign in. So now I am following this prize. This does not mean you have signed up to compete in the challenge. You are just following this challenge to receive updates, like I mentioned. So when we put out new information, give you a heads up of an upcoming deadline, anything like that. If you are interested in actually competing, after you click follow, you'll click solve this challenge. From here, you'll have to accept the competitor agreement, which just tells you to read the rules and that by accepting this, you have read the rules. Then you'll get the question whether you want to create your own team, join a team, or compete individually. You can change this at any time. I will note this functionality is specific to HeroX. You do not have to actually create a team on HeroX to be able to compete as a team. For the lighting prize, we look at the team members that you list on the submission, not the ones that you have set up on HeroX. Again, this is just functionality of HeroX. For now, I'm going to click I want to compete individually, and now my view has changed. So I do still have that option to join a team using that HeroX functionality if I wish, but it also gives me the option to begin an entry. Right now, the form that is open is that expression of intent. So it's a very quick and easy form, just asking about your team, point of contact, and then just a quick summary of your expression of interest. Please note if you're interested in competing in both tracks, you need to do a form for each track. They are separate forms. I'm not going to save and preview anything, but once you click submit, after you've completed all of the fields, you can go back in and edit it up until the submission deadline. And with that, I think I've covered everything on our HeroX page. As always, if you have any questions about the HeroX page, joining a team, starting a team, anything like that, please email us at the lprize@nrel.gov email, and we'll answer any questions you have.
Okay, thanks, Rebecca. Do we have any questions that have come in? Looks to me like we've had some that have been responded to in writing. If you have any other questions, feel free to go ahead and write them into the Q&A pane. Kate, in responding to these questions, did you share them with all attendees?
Yes, hopefully everybody can see all the questions and the answers. And I just referred back to the rules, so hopefully that answered the questions. If there's more nuance that you're looking for, just let us know.
Yeah, I think maybe I can add a little bit to them. So one of the questions is agricultural lighting accounts for a good portion of national lighting energy use, and will this type of will agricultural lighting innovations be considered? And I think one thing maybe I'll I'll call out here is that, you know, the metrics for this L Prize are designed to provide exceptional lighting quality in buildings with really great color rendering for people. That's a very different spectrum and color criteria than you'd want for plants. And so I think you'd have a difficult time developing a good agricultural luminaire that would also be good for people. And then I think we have another question. Will the physical evaluation by the ERP occur at the installation site or at PNL or both? The answer to that is both. I think we'll add a question to the forum that provides more information here. But I'll say that the really detailed testing and evaluation of the luminaire is primarily going to occur at PNL's Lighting Science and Technology Laboratory. The installations themselves will be considered particularly for the more subjective evaluations by the expert review panel. So it looks like we've got another new question. Kate, is this something you'd like to answer right now or follow up in writing?
Well, we could probably do both. I think that might be a good question to address in the forum, but I think that's where you see the overlap between Justice 40 and the current, L Prize rules is in that the focus on.
I don't know that people can see the question, so do you want to read it first?
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom James asked, how does the latest L Prize challenge serve the Justice 40 goals that of the DOE? So yeah, so there's a couple of things. So there's and Wyatt showed this slide. There's this idea that DOE is focusing on looking at sort of energy equity and accessibility and resilience as an overarching set of goals over all the other priorities. And so that is something that we took really seriously when we were reviewing, updating any rules for this phase. And really went through some series of exercises to make sure that we were considering equity, accessibility, and resilience throughout the rules. But I guess in addition to that, Justice 40 looks at the flow of benefits through programs and how those benefits reach disadvantaged communities. And so there's also aspects of the achieving Justice 40 goals that we can do internally. And so we're tracking Justice 40 metrics through the prize, both internally and then looking for ways to build equity and justice into the deployment approaches that we're taking in the prize. So I think we could probably write up something in a little more detail, but definitely paying special attention to Justice 40 in the development of the rules. Yeah.
I would just add, and it's sort of covered by what you said, Kate, but just to underline our focus, there's a lot of different criteria here that we're evaluating, but there's an overarching focus across a lot of the criteria around affordability, accessibility, and ease of installation. And so that's going to be beneficial to everybody, but we know that in particular, the communities that Justice 40 targets are going to benefit more from that.
Any other questions? Okay, well, it looks like that's it. Just want to say thank you to everybody for attending and let you know again that we're here to help support you in a successful submission, and don't hesitate to reach out through email, review the forum, or request office hours. And we're really looking forward to your innovations. Thank you.